Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. David Hughes here at Pidcock Triumph. Quite a lot's happened since the last podcast that we did. For one thing, the monsoon season seems to be having a bit of a break, and we've got beautiful sunshine. So everybody's out on the bikes enjoying the weather. And for another thing, we've lost Gowan, who's gone to do a summer season in the Algarve with his ZZ Top lookalike band. So we've replaced him with Neil, who's come across from BMW around the corner. You might have seen him on our other podcasts.
And I'm trying to grow a Gowan beard.
Trying to grow the Gowan beard. Needs to add about another 6 inches to that. Yeah. And of course we've got John here with us as well.
Hello.
So John would have told you earlier in the week that what we've decided to talk about today is something that's really close to his and my heart in particular, which is seat height. It's always a problem for people that are under sort of 5'10", like John and me. So we thought we'd have a chat around it, what the options are, how to get around the issues and that sort of thing. So I'll hand over to John to have a chat to you because he's more experienced than I am with these things.
So with regards to what we're talking about, as we said in the brief introduction we did in the video last time round, we're talking about the low ride height options that we've got within the range. So with the ever sort of growing model range we've got here at Triumph and the bikes, some of them becoming a little bit tall for me and for you and people of the same size. Unfortunately, a little bit annoying that Neil's come over and he's quite tall.
He's over there in the smoke corner.
He was trying to set me up earlier on some taller bikes and it wasn't happy with it.
No, I wasn't happy about that. So on the Scrambler 1200, the tallest one we've got, and he's got his feet down. I'm like,
that's not on, is it?
Yeah, not on. So the first off was the Tiger 900 GT, which is a low ride height option. The ride height of that bike sits at around about. I know you've written down, so don't shake your head like you don't.
No, I'm shaking.
You didn't write it down. Okay, so we'll move sort of briefly onto the absolutely beautiful sapphire black, the factory lowered option. Again, we've got a couple of models in that range. We've got the Street Triple S, the Street Triple R, and the Street Triple RS, and then Triumph's option to give us a Street Triple R, which is the factory lowered version. And like we said in the video, sort of going probably back a couple of months now that we did with that bike, that three things looking for when you're looking at bikes is the comfort side of things. So the ride triangle, nothing's too far as a stretch or no pinch or pains. You must have got it round the corner. Confidence and styling. And for me, I don't know what you're like, Neil, but the confidence comes from getting your feet planted left and right. So ultimately, that's why we thought it was incredibly important just to sort of let you guys know what we've got in the range and what's out there to jump on.
I think sometimes riders can come in and they're just unaware of options available to them, regardless of what manufacturer of bike they're looking at. And because there's two ways of going about it, as we know, sometimes it can be an all-out lowered model of a bike, which sometimes includes a lower profile seat, or the option of just going for a low profile seat. The only issue sometimes with going with that and what you're doing, you're forfeiting comfort for the sake of thinking, okay, I don't necessarily want to commit to a low frame bike, but with that, that you're absolutely set up. You've got all the comfort, yet you are comfortable and you've got your feet planted, and you're ready to go. The last thing you want, I've said this to customers on many occasions, is to start feeling uncomfortable, to commit to a bike, feel uncomfortable. You're not. I've had people that just haven't ridden their bikes just for the sake of the fact that they just know that once they're out and they come across somewhere it's slightly a bit off camber, they're not too confident about putting the feet down, and it puts them off the bike, and that's the last thing you want. And sometimes that can be through misinformation of what is available to them in the first place with regards to the right product for the right person.
Yeah, it is important, isn't it, to get the right product for the right person. Some people are more confident than others, and a lot of people like both feet on the ground. They like to be planted. Other people don't mind sort of hitching over and just having one foot on the floor. And one of the things that I noticed earlier today, funnily enough, was that some bikes that you think, well, that's really low, like the Bobber, for instance. Of course, you can sit on it, you can touch the floor, even I can touch the floor on the Bobber, but then you've got the issue, and I'm okay with it, but it was a young lady in earlier that was then having trouble reaching the handlebars. You've got to get it's got to be the whole package that's right, hasn't it?
And that's why it's crucial for those three things. I mean, if you walk into a showroom to look at a bike anyway, then that styling element that you've got is that first box ticked, and then the other two that we was talking about a second ago, come with that. like you say, the off-camber corners, and it can be, quite off-putting to people. And we, like you say, many people have come into the showroom in the dealership that have, had a slight off or a drop, or something's happened, and then as soon as that, that damage is done to the ego, the damage is done to the confidence, and so the styling, the confidence, and like you're saying about the lady that was in the early run with the handlebars on the bar, because even though it's a low centre of gravity bike, but her being quite a short lady, it's then the leverage to get the bike up. So that's where the problem comes, and the overstretch. So
especially on some bikes, if the engine is sat a little higher in the frame, that they have got that weight to lift up. So like you say, it's all right having a low enough seat. The other thing is, don't always go off the numbers, because of course the actual cut of the seat, the profile of the seat varies.
The width of the seat
absolutely
can make an incredible difference.
So you can come in and relate to a number that you read on a website somewhere. But the best thing to do is come in and sit on a bike and know from then what is ideal for you and what isn't. And again, then explore other options if there's anything available to you.
I think that's absolutely right as well. The amount of people that I spoke to on the phone, on that initial contact, initial contacts, and they've seen this and seen that and watched reviews, and by the third sort of conversation with the customer on the phone, it's like, look, forget the videos,
please,
forget the internet, just get yourself in, get out, and, give us a shout, get yourself out on the demo, and get that conclusion yourself. So
and alongside that as well, it can be the comfort side of it. I've spoken to people where they've sat on a bike and it's a really hard seat, but they've gone 20, 30 miles and actually gone, but actually that played well for me in the end. I didn't mind that. And the opposite can happen as well. So that just bodes well in terms of the importance of trying it.
You've got to try it.
If there's something you're interested in, don't just ask the questions. Yes, come in and sit on it. But if you're interested, in the bike, and we've got it on the demonstrator range, then ask us to go out on it, and we can, you'll get an absolute idea of what it's going to be like for you.
So what advice, if you got people, because obviously it's all right for little people like me coming in and getting on a speed twin and stuff like that, but what if I want to go touring? So I'm a little, I'm sort of 5'7", 5'8" ish, and and to get on an adventure bike for me, and I know they do low seats and that sort of thing, but I guess one of the things is that even on a low seat, I'm struggling to touch the ground, but there's only me on it. I mean, once that bike's loaded up with luggage and that sort of thing, it's going to be lower.
Well, I had a great example of someone with that a few weeks ago. So the internet tells them that they need, an adventure bike. But when we looked at it, it was a street twin in the end.
Right.
It was a low ride height. We look at the Tiger 100 GT low, but he preferred the Modern Classic look. But the Modern Classic that we got with Triumph, whether it be the Bonnevilles, the Bobbers, the Speedmasters, Street Twins, Scramblers, the accessory catalogue that we've got with the bikes, you can change the bike dramatically between doing your bigger tours, from the long haul touring screens, the sports panniers, on some of the models, top boxes, tank pads already there. When you're talking probably the combination of maybe, I don't know, sort of 40 to 50 litres of load, plus then your rear pillion seat to play around with if you're going on your own. By the time we configured the bike up and how it looked, and luckily we had a bit of luggage in the back that you could show him what it was all about. He went, I'm really glad you've done that. And he went for the, it was the T100, he went for in the end. But he didn't realise that a Modern Classic could do what it needs to do, and the whole point of it was you've got it set up for tour to get that done. And when you're going back to your, your cafe and your ice cream runs, that you can take those bits and pieces off. And he's got that sort of beautiful, pretty bike that you can look at as he's, glancing back, enjoying an ice cream, looking at his bike with his mate.
I just didn't realise that the Modern Classic range was that flexible, to be honest. But I mean, we sell all these accessories, and you can specify what you want on your bike, and talk to you guys, and you're the best placed people to advise people what bike is suitable for what they want with it.
Again, using the T120 as an example, yes, we've lost a few accessories with the new 21 model that we've got, but one of the things we have got with that bike is the cruise control that we had with the Bobbers and the Speedmasters. So those bikes will carry more luggage in terms of load compared to the other kind of sort of custom cruisers like the Bobbers and Speedmasters. So the addition of cruise control, like we were talking about a second ago, if you only went to Scotland on a motorway for the next 4 hours at 70 miles an hour and click, and you're done. So
in fact, that's
it's
standard equipment now. It's just points to the fact that said you can do it. It's a great example though. You mentioned about it ended up being, a street twin that they
T100.
Yeah, T100. Yeah.
But it's how many times do we have people coming in and they're talking about touring and it's not us that jump to it, but they can jump and they just think they sort of assume that sometimes they have to go down the route of like an adventure bike.
How often are you going for a tour? Well, my mate's been talking about it. So it's once in a blue moon. So do you really want something? I mean, you can do a tour on anything. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be as comfortable as doing it on something that's purpose built for that job. But
it's sometimes that the customers are unaware, like you say, that the modern classic range in this example is so versatile to be able to do it as well.
Yeah.
And it is like a matter of that was a really good point you made, like because if you go touring once a year, I mean, is that the only time you're going to use your bike? You're probably going to use it, on at least a weekly basis. And for most of your riding, it's going to be perfectly suitable without all those accessories fitted as well.
Yeah. So not too bad at all. So I mean, and that's why I was really sort of touching base on like the modern classics, the accessories. Having the bikes being able to be turned into, what you want them to be. But again, you're not necessarily restricted if you are on the short side like we are with the bikes we've got within our ranges to be able to still do those things and enjoy yourself. So yeah.
So I think the message is exactly what did you say, John, earlier?
Yeah. So if you'd like to get yourself on a demo, give us a call here at Pidcock Triumph on 0115 946 220. So give us a shout, get yourself out. In regards to Neil being in the showroom with us,
come and say hello to me.
I'd like to absolutely welcome him here, and I'm sure in one video at some point or another we can get them to say absolutely beautiful sapphire black or something like that. So
And don't forget to go to our website www.pidcock.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can always get us on Facebook as well. So we look forward to seeing you next time, and thanks for watching.